Welcome to the Tuesday workshop session hosted by OverPower Marketing. It is I, Mustafa Shahid, and we have Cohen Powell with us as well. And today we are going to show you and explain to you regarding automations. So this is the series we've been continuing for like the past 2 to 3 weeks, and this will be continuing for the next 4 to 6 weeks as well. So for this week, we have certain triggers that Cohen will show you. He will explain it to you, and then after him, I'll be explaining those to you in a further explained manner or detailed manner. So over to you, Cohen. You can share your screen and you can just start. To all the people who have joined for the first time, let me just explain to you what workflows or automations are. Automations within the system is something that will enable when X happens, Y is supposed to happen. So when A happens, B happens. So what should happen when something triggers it? So the trigger could be the contact has been created, an opportunity has been created, someone booked an appointment within a calendar, whatever action you want to happen on a recurring basis, it can be automated using automation or workflows. And the reason we use these are to save the human time and the human and to prevent human errors. So that, for example, if you want to send out continuous emails whenever someone books an appointment, or reminder emails or follow-up emails, or if you want people within the team to be assigned or within the team to be internally notified, we can have all of those actions set up using automations. So for today, we have the workflows in front of you on the screen, which is the appointment status, customer booked appointment, opportunity changed, opportunity created, opportunity status changed, pipeline state changed, and stale opportunities. So Cohen will be going into further detail about what each and every one of those are and how to set it up. Over to you, Cohen.
Thank you. All right, first up is the appointment status trigger. What this trigger does is whenever the status of a client's in an appointment has been changed. So as you can see here, if you go to calendars, click on a client, view details, and then down here at the status, it will do show, showed, no show, or confirmed. And whenever these are selected, it will trigger this workflow trigger. And you can add specific filters, what the event type was, what the appointment was, the appointment status is now, for which calendar it was, and so on. And next is customer booked appointment workflow. This one is very simple. It's exactly how it sounds, but whenever a client books an appointment, that will activate this trigger. And for the filters, you can add for a specific calendar that you have set up, and so on. Opportunity changed workflow. This is for whenever a client in your pipeline or opportunities has had their information changed whatsoever. So if you go into opportunities, click on a client in the pipeline, and if you make any changes whatsoever or make any edits on this page, then that will activate this trigger. And you can add more filters, same as the last one, for specific pipelines and for specific changes, for specific stages. Opportunity created. This one is this one goes hand in hand with another workflow where you basically add a client's information into your system or your database. So whenever a client is added or created in your pipeline or opportunities tab, that will activate this trigger. And same as the last triggers, it has filters very similar to the previous ones. Opportunity status changed, very similar to the calendar. Down at the bottom of a client's details on the opportunities tab, we have status right here. Here you can change their status and to whichever is most appropriate, and whatever it's changed to will activate this trigger. And you can have specific filters that state whether the status was changed to open or one or whatever you have set for your business, as well as pipeline and pipeline stages as well. And this is similar to the opportunity changed but this is only for the status. Pipeline stage changed. This is whenever a client has moved from one stage to another within the pipeline. Very simple, and you can have it set to whichever specific pipeline you want it to, and to whichever stage it was moved to as well. Add multiple filters such as what their client's tag is, as well as their status that we went over in the previous triggers as well. Stale opportunities. This one is pretty interesting. What it basically is, it's a timer for clients that are in a stage in your pipeline for too long. So here we have set the pipeline, our sales lead pipeline status is not one, and meaning that they're not interested, and duration is 90 days. So if they stay in that status within the pipeline for too long, for 90 days or over 90 days, then you can have specific actions to activate the workflow. And that is it from me. And I think Mustafa will now tell you the specific uses for these triggers.
All right, so let me just open that. All right, so while it's opening, I will be explaining how to use each and every one of these triggers. So for everyone, when you go within the automations tab and you click on a new workflow, you will have a builder that is shown in front of you. This part, it will have a new trigger. So whenever you click on the new trigger, it will open up a window right, like on the right-hand side of the screen. And if you just click on any trigger, and then within this window, you just click on the drop-down menu, you will have a little bit of a sub-headline below each specific trigger. So for like example, for today, we are talking about appointment status and all the other workflows. We can read and still understand on our own as well what they would mean. So appointment status is runs on all appointment status updates. So whenever someone books an appointment with you and the appointment time shows up, the user can select whether that person was showed up to the appointment or he didn't show up. And based on that particular decision, you can have a workflow triggered. What it would do is, for example, if someone showed up to the appointment and you want to send him out and thank you for meeting with me, or thank you for taking out the time to meet with me email, you can send him that. If someone didn't show up for the appointment, you can add that particular person within a, let's say, a nurture workflow or a follow-up email workflow and things like that. So again, depending upon how you want to use it, you can specify when that particular automation is supposed to be triggered. So in this trigger, for this specific trigger, appointment status, it will be triggered when the status of an appointment goes from confirmed to either show or no show, or maybe even abandoned as well. Now, then you have the customer booked appointment. So whenever a person books an appointment, you can have another workflow be initiated. What you can do, one of the case studies is you can send that person a reminder about the appointment. So let's say 24 hours before an appointment is supposed to happen, they will receive an email, text, SMS, maybe even a call if you want to, something like that, that says you have an appointment booked with us over in after 24 hours. Then you can have the same email sent before 12 hours before the appointment, probably 30 minutes or maybe an hour before the appointment as well. So you can have similar automation set up like that as well. Then you have opportunities changed. Let me just click that out. All right. So when an opportunity gets changed means whenever the details within an opportunity is changed. So for example, if you change the person's name, you change the person's email, you change the person's number, you can change the person's notes that have been attached to it, or whatever other, maybe even the tags you want to change out. So whenever someone changes the opportunities details, you might have this automation work or triggered. For example, if you don't want someone to mess with the opportunities within the pipeline, you can have an automation that whenever someone changes an opportunities details, the manager or someone in a manager role gets internally notified that this particular opportunities detail has been changed, and then they can go within the system and change it back. Then the next one is opportunity created. So whenever someone is made a contact within the system, it gets stored as a contact in the system, but it does not mean that they will directly be created as an opportunity within the pipeline. So for example, if you're handling potential clients and you are handling current clients as well. So you might probably have two different pipelines for each, one for the potential clients, one for the existing clients. So based on whenever a contact has been created, you don't want that to be jumped up into either one of them, one of those pipelines. You might want only the clients that have the tag potential clients or new clients be sent to the appropriate pipeline. So this is when the opportunity created workflow will be initiated. So when your conditions are satisfied, only then this automation will take place. Then you have multiple statuses within an opportunity itself. So the by default status is always open, but the other statuses are won, lost, abandoned. So maybe whenever your deal with a possible opportunity has been done, you can change its status from open to won, and if you have lost the client, you can have it open to lost. One of the better understanding for this is, for whenever you select the opportunity status from open to won or lost or abandoned, you can see these changes within the dashboard or within the reporting section, where you will have all the data combined, and that data is very crucial for people who like to make data driven decisions. So they'll see how many opportunities we have, how many of them are open, how many of them are won, how many of them are lost, and they can make future decisions for their company regarding the data in front of them. Then moving on, we have the pipeline state changed. So in within your pipeline, you may have multiple stages. For example, one of the generic pipelines are cold calls or new leads. Then you have warm leads, hot leads, won, and deferred. So whenever a lead has changed or has been moved from new lead to a warm lead or a cold lead to a warm lead, you can have an automation setup which will be initiated. For example, you can internally notify the assigned user to reach out to that particular person and call them, or you can send out an email to that particular contact which has been just moved from cold to warm or from warm to hot, and so on and so forth. And finally, one of the major automation triggers, which is the stale opportunities. What stale opportunities is, it's run when an opportunity gets older, or it has been stayed within the same stage in a pipeline for over a number of days, which you can set. So we have set for 90 days, you can have set it for 180 days or even 365 days, just to make it a year. What will happen is, for example, if you have clients that you have won over and you want to reach out to them just so they still remember you, and you want to reach them out after 3 months of service or maybe 6 months, you can do that. Or maybe you want to follow up with your existing clients, do you either cross sell something or upsell something or just take a feedback, you can use the sale opportunities. Or if you have people who said, okay, I'm not interested in your service right now, get back to me within XYZ months or get back to me later, you can then reach out to those people using the stale opportunities workflow. So yep, that would conclude all the triggers we had for today. And for next week, we'll be working on actions. So what I mean by action is, we just explained within the last few weeks what will enable a particular workflow. And then from the next week onwards, we're going to explain what will happen once a workflow has been initiated. So if you click on the plus button, please select action. We have a bunch of actions that we are going to explain in the upcoming weeks. So yeah, that does it for today. I hope there are questions. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I'm hoping Mr. Jeff has any questions, or maybe Christina.
Hey,
I'm I'm sorry to point out.
you're counting on me to have a question. I was yeah. Can you come up with maybe some examples of application of mixing multiple examples that you showed today into an automation? Can you think of something like that, where you'd use several of these or multiple of these examples in a real life situation for your company?
We can, but we already have another session booked, probably the next session or maybe a few sessions afterwards, in which we'll be going to set up an entire account, set up a dummy business per se, using all of these triggers just to show how each and every one of them will be performed. So for example, if someone runs an online business or probably runs something like a online gym or an online yoga fitness class, and they use particular calendars. They can have service calendars, they can have appointment calendars, and so on and so forth. And then within that same business, they will also have to use pipelines and stages as well. And we will be explaining all of these different triggers based on having a real life business in front of us, just to show as an example. But because it will take a lot of time and effort for that, that's why we have specified that exact process in entire different workshop meeting. I hope that satisfies you. Well, with this, we have concluded almost half of the triggers. And the reason we are moving now onto the actions part is so that people will understand, okay, this is what initiated the workflows. What happens next? What do we do next? So what comes next is the actions, and that's what we're going to focus on. And afterwards, we'll be showing a real life example using a case study of different businesses, just to combine it all together and show our audience how to bring it all, the actions and the triggers together, and how to set up an entire business around it. So that's the plan.
Very
I
good.
hope it's fruitful for everyone. So apart from that, this is all we had to show. If there are no questions, I will have to then end the meeting, which I don't want to.
Any other questions?
Well, if there are none, so thank you for being an amazing audience, everyone. Thank you for being an amazing audience and staying here. I hope that these workshop meetings have been fruitful for you, or have given you ideas, or have given you that push needed to go within the system and check out the automations by yourselves as well. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to me, Cohen, Mr. Jeff, or Mr. Oren as well. And we'd love to help you out to solve that particular problem that you're facing, or maybe brainstorming some ideas. So that does it for today. I hope every one of you have a great day ahead, and see you next week.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Mustafa.
Thank you.